Hello friends, in this video I'm going to discuss the short story A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I'll discuss introduction to writer, his writing style, themes, simple, summary, plot analysis, character analysis, and we'll analyze this short story in this way. This is the text of the short story. Let's begin by introduction to writer and his writing style. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, born March 6, 1927, he was popular author from Colombia and the greatest writers of 20th century, who was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature, and he wrote the famous novel 100 Years of Solitude. And as far as his writing style is concerned, he is famous for the use of magical realism. It's a genre of literature that blends, you can see, it's a mixture of realistic elements with the magical elements to create a magical realism, and it originated in Latin America, where writers such as Gabriel Garcia Marquez and the magical realistic style is there, and combining the homely details of. So in the story we'll see how he combined the homely details of Pelayo and Elisanda's life with fantastic elements such as flying men and spider woman to create a tone of equal part local color story and fairy tale. And his writings are miraculous, enchanting events are there, and his novels were filled with love and madness. Satire on religion is there. Now the summary of the short story. This short story tells the story of Pelayo and his wife Elisenda, who find old men with wings in their courtyard after killing crabs in a rainstorm. And he Pelayo gets his wife, and they try to communicate with him, but the old man didn't answer. Basically, he didn't understand their language, so they eventually get their neighbor woman, who informs that the old man is Angel, and she tells them that it was on his way for their sick child, and they put the angel in chicken coop, and during the middle of the night their child's fever breaks, and they decided to let him go. But when they return to courtyard at dawn, the entire community has arrived to see the angel. People from far places came to see them, and Father Gonzaga, he soon arrives there. He was pop, you can say, at church, and he declared that the old man is a fake, and he promises to get the real truth from the higher courts of church. And news of the angel spreads wildly in that place. And Alessandra has the idea of changing a 5 cent admission fee for seeing the angel, so they get money from people saints who came to see the angel, and they could rich by that money and build a home for themselves. And we'll see that the crowd lives on his own. And basically, at initially the crowd got astonished by seeing him. When he didn't respond, they throw stones on him, dehumanizing him and humiliating him. However, when a carnival boasting a spider girl arrives in the town, the specters are allowed to question her, and she tells them how she was turned into a spider one night for disobeying her parents. And this appeals to masses, to audience or spectators, more than old wing man who ignores the people around him because he didn't speak to them. And the curious crowd soon leave the angel for the spider, leaving Pelayo quarter deserted. And Pelayo and Elisenda build a mansion with the money they have accumulated, and they neglected the angel and prevent their child from getting close. And he soon becomes a part of their life, and they no longer fear him, and the child visits him often. And after a while the chicken coop breaks, and they allow him to move around their house. And One day he gets increasingly frail, sick, and fear that he will die. But he recovers soon, and one day he fly away. And it was a great relief for Elisenda because she want to get rid of him. And we'll see the character analysis. The first one is the old man, the angel you can see, who is the protagonist. And Pilaya finds him lying in the mud of his courtyard and cage him in a chicken coop, and people from around the world come to see him, and his one supernatural quality aside from his wings seems to be his patience, and he speaks in a dialect that no one understands. And second character is Pelayo. Pelayo discovers that the old man with wings, and he makes a lot of money exhibiting the old man with which he builds a mansion. And Elisenda, the wife of Pelayo, and he was the first to see the old man. Elisenda develops a bent spine from cleansing up after the crowds who came to see the old man. She hated the old man, want to get rid of him, and she come up with idea of charging an admission price to see him. Because the Piloyan and his wife was selfish person, and the child is ill when Pilar finds the old man, and his fever breaks during the night. Once the angel is no longer a carnival attraction, the people plays with him in chicken coop sometimes. Neighbor woman is there, the neighbor woman who is close to Pelayo and Elisenda. She knows everything about life and death and tells them that the old man is an angel who was probably coming for their sick child before the rain knocked him from sky. And Father Gonzaga, a priest, a woodcutter, and who become a priest, who was a priest, and though he suspects the angel of being an impostor and tried to reveal the reality that the old man didn't shouldn't be an angel because he didn't speak Latin, and he insisted the crowd treat the angel with dignity. Okay, and the spider girl is there. The girl who ran into spider by disobeying because she disobeyed her parents, and she used to be a young girl, and so on her way home a lightning bolt of brimstone turned her into a giant spider, and her only source of food is the meatballs spectacles on her. And the themes in the short story, the first one is the coexistence of cruelty and compassion. So, in this short story, we'll examine the human response to those who are weak, dependent, and different. So, the people they dehumanize the old man because he was different or peculiar or strange to them, and humiliating him by throwing stones at him. And there are the moments of striking cruelty and carelessness throughout the story. And after Elisenda and Pelayo's child recovered from illness, the parents decided to put all men to a sea on a raft with provisions for 3 days. And once they discover that they can profit from the showcasing him, okay, so the, on one hand they show kindness to him by saving his life, but they got selfishness and greed for money and want to exhibit him and get money. So, so that they benefit their own and build a mansion or house for themselves. And by the time the old man finally flies away, and the Alexander gets sigh of relief, and it is the old man's extreme patience with the villagers that ultimately transform Peleos and Alexander's life. And next theme we'll see that the human reception of supernatural. So the two major supernatural occurrence of are there in the short story. The first one, the man with enormous wings and the spider woman. And the people in the story treat the old man as orderly but not as supernatural oddity, more a freak of nature than something beyond nature. The old man appears to be nothing more than a frail human with wings, so his status as an angel is endlessly debated, and Father Gonzaga thinks that he cannot be an angel because he lacks dignity, splendor. He does not speak Latin, which is considered a language of gods. And perhaps it is the people who lack dignity, not the old man. And old man, the other supernatural characteristics, his incredible patience in the face of his treatment, and the spider girl is a clear contrast with old man, whereas he's difficult, if not impossible, to interpret. The spider girl delight the people with clarity of her story, and she disobeyed her parents as so was turned into a spider. And this tendency, the people did not debate her status as a spider, and this tendency of public to accept supernatural explanation for such a simple morality tells about but to deny them in case of complexity. And the next theme is the sacred and mundane. So mundane means a common thing. A very ornament, enormous wings is a story of a decaying angel who falls to earth and kept in backyard chicken coop by family Piloy and his wife Elisenda and Marquez characters do not consider the angel's arrival to be miraculous, and instead they accept the supernatural aspects of angels' presence without question, focusing instead on what the angel can do for them and concluding ultimately that he is unimpressive. And Marquis' portrayal of Angel as an utterly mundane aspect of everyday life, a being that the characters mistreat and disregard due to their perception that his strangeness is banal. And it suggests that the secret is inseparable from mundane and that failures of human perceptions are to blame for everyday life not seeming miraculous. And the few miracles attributed to angels show a certain mental disorder. Marcus writes in the sneering voice of the town people, like the blind man who didn't recover his sight but grew three new teeth, and the paralytic who didn't get to walk but almost won the lottery, and the leper whose sword sprouted sunflowers. So these are some miraculous events that takes place there. And okay, and what the writer suggests that rather than feeling out by the proximity to a miraculous, the town people felt mocked by those consolation miracles, since they were not the miracles that the people want or expected. And another theme is theme of patience, empathy, and cruelty. Instead of treating the angel with reverence or respect or sympathy, the town people are cruel to him, and they keep him in a wretched condition, hurt him in order to rouse him into a more entertaining behavior, and exploit his suffering by turning him into a ticketed spectacle. And town people's behavior toward the angel is unambiguously cruel, and they dehumanize him, throwing stones at him, and they humiliate him. And from the beginning of the story, and the angel or perceive him as a being fundamentally different from the other people, and the character's lack of empathy led to outright violence. For instance, the town people who have flocked to the chicken coop, wanting to see something miraculous provoke the angel cruelty, and they pluck feathers from his wings, throw stones, and even burn him with iron in order to make him do something or to talk. And this behavior, which would be obviously aberrant if done to a human, demonstrate the extent to which they have altered the angel, and it shows how group psychology can normalize behaviors that would usually consider immoral. And another theme is faith, religion, and morality. And in this short story, religion is portrayal, or it's displayed portrayal as a hollow set of habits rather than a genuine moral framework. And when the angel falls to earth, he finds himself among Christians who should be delighted by heavenly miracles of his existence. However, the angel does not match their perceptions of what an angel should like to be, and instead of taking care of him or even having sympathy for the rich condition, the town people either want something from him or see him as curiosity. And the priest Gonzaga, he fails to help the angel or recognize that he's a secret. Instead, the priest gets distracted by sending letters to church authorities. And uh, the writer suggests that genuine faith is easily perverted, and while these characters are superficially religious, they lack actual faith, hope, or clarity. An angel is obviously a religious figure, and though his wings are not in their best condition, still he is a supernatural creature. And however, the town people understand that he is an angel. His pitiful appearance and odd behavior put off everyone who meets him, while the angel embodies the very wretchedness and destitution that Jesus said one should meet with kindness and charity. And the angel's presence also clearly evokes Hebrews as well. Be not forgotten to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels. And town people are in a situation in which they know they are entertaining an angel. He is not even in disguise and still fail to display any generosity of spirit. And this shows how ineffective and shallow religion has become in this town. And people consider themselves faithful while behaving selfishly and even cruelly towards the angel. And he suggests that town people lack of genuine faith might due to Catholic Church setting a poor example, and his satire on church greed and pettiness and exploitation of the angel is a clear comment on money-making side of organized religion. And now we'll analyze symbols in the short story. The first symbol is the wings. Wings represent power, speed, limitless freedom of motion, and in Christian traditions, angels are often represented as beautiful winged figures. And Marquez' place of this sculpture symbolized because ironically the wings of angel in a story convey only a sense of age and disease, and it is considered as peculiar, strange, and awkward thing. When the villager doctors examine the old man, he notices how naturally wings fit in with the rest of his body. And ultimate effect is to suggest that the old man is both natural and supernatural at once. So this is the instant of magical realism as well, having the wings of heavenly messenger, but all the fatalities of earthly creature. And we'll see the Spider Woman. The Spider Woman represents the fickleness with which many self-interested people approach their own faith, and after hearing of the angel, hundreds of villagers flocked to Peleus' house. And not surprisingly, the old man's reputation wanes when he provokes capable of performing only minor consolation miracles, and the spectators flock to the Spider Woman who tells a heart-wrenching story with a clear, easy to digest lessons in morality and no less stranger than the wing a man. The Spider Woman is easier to understand, even pity the old man barely conscious in his filthy chicken coop. And so these are the symbols. Hope you understand the notes in the description. Thank you for watching.